Good evening, Commissioners. It is now 7 p.m. We have all County Commissioners on the line, as well as our Interim County Attorney, Claudia Hager. This meeting is now live on YouTube. I would like to announce that any individuals that are not speaking, you are asked to have your mics muted and your cameras off unless you're being asked a question or unless you are sharing.
Thank you, Monica, and good evening, commissioners, staff, and community. Today is May 24th, 2021, and we are resuming our meeting, and I will read the public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. If you will say the Pledge of Allegiance along with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic to which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'd like to ask commissioners, are there any agenda adjustments at this time? Hearing none, we will move on to our announcements, and we're asking our clerk that does such an incredible job if she will read our announcements this evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. The announcements for the May 24th regular session meeting are as follows. Are you behind in rent due to COVID-19? The Durham Emergency Rental Assistance Program is here for you. Please visit www.durhamerap.dconc.gov to learn the requirements and to apply today. If you have questions, please call 919-560-8000 and select option 7. Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. Do you need help paying for high-speed internet? The Federal Communication Commission has created this program that provides a temporary discount on monthly broadband bills for qualifying low-income households. Please visit www.getemergencybroadband.org for more details, and a list will also be shared online of those qualifications for that program. Memorial Day events for DECO Veteran Services. Join Durham County Veteran Services for a virtual Memorial Day ceremony for the National Day of Mourning on Monday, May 31st. The remembrance will be shown on Durham Television Network at 8 a.m. and the Durham County Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor, and YouTube pages at 11 a.m. Everyone is also invited to place a flag provided at the War Memorial in front of the Administrative 1 building located at 200 East Main Street from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Memorial Day. More information, please visit dconc.gov. COVID-19 vaccinations, appointment, and walk-in hours. We are continuing to offer walk-in vaccinations for first and second doses 5 days a week for all people 16 and older. Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines are being offered as supply permits. Walk-in hours are Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m., and on Tuesdays, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. We also continue scheduling appointments at 919-560-HELP. Those numbers are 4357 for anyone interested in scheduling in advance. That concludes the the announcements for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Monica. Any other announcements from commissioners? Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on the broadband benefit, because this is really important for people to, for us to get to the word out about this benefit, which will subsidize the monthly amount for broadband, but also will subsidize payment to buy a computer, and that people who could qualify in our community, you could be a SNAP benefit, food and nutrition services benefit, Medicaid recipients, anyone whose child gets free and reduced lunch, or the pandemic EBT. If you are a housing authority resident or a veteran, these are some of the really broad categories of people that can qualify. So I hope that people will check out our website to get more information about how you can qualify for this benefit for broadband.
Okay, other announcements? I have one here about Employee Appreciation Week. I don't think that was announced, was it,
No,
Monica? So we always want to take the opportunity to appreciate our employees. And this is Employee Appreciation Week. It's going to be virtual from May 24th through May 28th. And Human Resources is hosting Employee Appreciation Week to recognize employees who make our organization a great place to live, grow, and thrive. And as we continue to face the challenges of COVID-19, we want to take this opportunity to focus on our employees and their families' well-being with work-life balance in the forefront of the events. With that in mind, the events during this week are in collaboration with other DCO departments and are to encourage every employees' inclusion of families and work events, and to just have fun, excuse me. So there is a link to My DCO for employees to click on. And as always, we appreciate all of the contributions from all of our employees. The other thing that I just want to mention, and that lays heavy on my heart, that there have been 13 cities across the country that have had mass shootings. We pray that it does not come to our community. It's been close. It's in Virginia and South Carolina. We're not immune to it. So we just all need to just say, pray it up if you pray, or whatever you do, that it does not come to our community. The next on our agenda, commissioners, is we have minutes. There are the April 26th regular session and May 3rd, our work session minutes for approval. Are there any comments or edits on those minutes? If not, I will ask for a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Both sets of minutes. Thank you.
Been moved by Commissioner Jacobs, second by
Commissioner Burns, I second the
Commissioner-
approval of both sets of minutes.
Okay, both. So it's been moved by Commissioner Jacobs, second by Commissioner Burns. Monica, would you call the roll, please? We'll take a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alon,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
I approve 5-0. The next are our ceremonial items. And Commissioner, we have one ceremonial item on this agenda tonight. And that's 210319, introduction of our new county food security coordinator, Mary Oxendine. The board is requested to meet the new county food security coordinator and welcome her to Durham County government. We have Donna Rewald, County Extension Director, on the line to introduce Mary. So I welcome Mary to speak as well if she'd like to.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. We are very excited to be here tonight to introduce our new and first, I will say, County Food Security Coordinator. I would like to first give credit both to the community members, particularly those from In Hunger Durham and other organizations that raise the need for greater county and public collaboration around food security issues. COVID has certainly highlighted and exacerbated existing food insecurity in our community and has shown us many of the gaps. And this position will be a key element to addressing the food insecurity that existed in our community before and will exist long after COVID is gone. So we're really grateful for that. The role is to address county-wide and community-wide efforts around food access and food policy. We're very excited. After a couple of goes at trying to find a good fit of a person, we found Mary. Mary Oxendine joined us just in April, and she already feels like she's a member of the family. The position is embedded at Cooperative Extension. While it is a county-wide position, we're providing that support. Mary is a North Carolina native. She's also a member of the Lumbee and Tuscarora tribes. She has over 12 years of experience planning, developing and implementing health promotion, disease prevention programs. She has expertise in qualitative research methods and managing large-scale, multi-year complex projects. She has studied food insecurity in low-income and Latinx communities and has supported the congressionally appointed National Commission on Hunger. She also has lived experience with food insecurity. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy from UNC Chapel Hill, and she's currently finishing a Master of Science in Nutrition at Meredith College. And we are really excited to have Mary here with us, and I'd love for her to say a few things about herself and the work.
Thanks so much, Donna. I am really excited to join the Cooperative Extension and Durham County to be working on such an important topic. And I greatly appreciate the commissioners for creating this position and creating this opportunity to really systemically address food insecurity in Durham. This is a really key pivotal point in time. And as Donna mentioned, food insecurity didn't start with COVID. It has been exacerbated, and we'll be dealing with the ramifications of that for a while. And we'll be sharing more about that in the coming months. Using a human-centered design process, we have been developing strong relationships internally and externally with partners to deeply understand the issues that individuals and families are facing. And we'll be using a community-rooted approach and racial equity lens to build a team to design an equitable, sustainable food system for Durham County. And I am very excited and look forward to continuing a dialogue with you as we move ahead.
Thank you, Mary, and welcome. One of the things that we took as the president of the State Association of North Carolina took across the state was we talk about our children thriving. Children cannot thrive if the parents are not thriving. And if they don't have the necessary food and shelter, they cannot thrive. So thank you for coming to us. Commissioners, comments? Okay, Commissioner Jacobs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mary, I'm so excited to meet you. We've heard that you were hired, but I was waiting for the moment where we would get to meet you at least virtually, and I look forward to meeting you in person. I'm so excited to have you on board. We actually funded your position in I think it was the 1920 budget. So it's taken us a while to get here, but our board recognized that we really needed somebody like you to really help us do exactly what it sounds like you're doing. You're going to help us to really look, assess what's happening and design a food system in Durham that can meet the needs of everyone in our community. And I don't think you could be here at a better time, coming in on the pandemic and building on the amazing efforts that Donna and so many people in our community have been involved with. I just posted something on my own social media today about the Feed Durham effort. There's just been so many people in our community who have stepped up in so many ways, but we know that we need a systemic approach, which I know you're going to help us with. So again, look forward to hearing your recommendations. Please let us know how we can support you. Welcome, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you.
Other comments from commissioners?
That's quick.
Commissioner Carter?
I'll try to be fast, but I also wanted to express my pleasure and welcome to Mary, and wanted to let you all know that I participated in the Cooperative Extension Wishing Tree, and my wish was for healthy food for all, food justice in Durham. And I mentioned that we're going to be able to work together to get there because we have hired Mary Oxendine. So I just want to thank you and say welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So again, welcome.
Commissioner
Mary.
Hamilton,
Thanks.
mine is quick. I've had my hand up.
I apologize. I didn't.
It's
see
okay.
that.
I'm on gallery view. It's fine.
Yeah.
Mrs. Oxendine, I do want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues, but I also want to go back to something that was in your citation. And I think Donna, for the point of brevity, didn't skate over it on purpose, but just so we can get through it. I think number one, go heels. So that's number one. Number two, I imagine you're a Southeastern North Carolina girl.
Yes, I am.
So already,
Southeast,
yeah.
Yes, Robeson County, if that's
Same
familiar.
here. All right. So I just want to throw out two things that I saw in your citation. I appreciate that you knew how to manage a budget up to $3.5 million. I think as we see further funding coming down for food insecurity, we need somebody who understands the budget oversight process, and the fact that also in your citation that you understood inclusivity and equity. One of the things, and I won't say disappointed, it's been more curious, because I know how hard Donna works. I know how hard some other folks work, but I even said this during a working session earlier this year. There are so many religious institutions that provide food banks that are just not looped into the county. Some of it is not by design, it's just they're not looped in. What I'm looking forward to is you building that ecosystem for us, because we do see a lot of food wasted. We do see a lot of, especially again, when the pandemic hit, because what people wanted to do, everybody wanted to give food to somebody, and there was no strategy behind it. So I look forward to supporting you in that endeavor. I look forward to I know every day I go to work, there are 2 churches I pass on Tuesday or Thursday, they're giving out food. And when I stop, they're not linked. They are now. They were never linked to anything that the county did. And so as we find those opportunities, we want to share them. And if you see spaces where you think we could be more supportive, or perhaps as you are new, at least to this role, where we could connect you, I invite you to reach out to us so that we can do that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay. Commissioner Lum.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. Mary, I just want to congratulate you on your new role and welcome to the team. I'm really excited. I've gotten to work with Donna a little bit around food insecurity and connecting some nonprofits that I've worked with in Durham, and I'm excited to continue this work now with you. And if there's any way that I can be supportive, or the rest of this board, never hesitate to reach out. I think it's such a vital role, and I'm grateful that the last board saw the importance to create this position and to be able to bring you on. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you have it from all the commissioners. So don't hesitate to ask. Thank you,
Thank
Mary.
you so much. I appreciate all your support.
You're welcome. So commissioners, we're at our consent agenda. We have 5 consent items on the agenda, and if the commissioners would like to pull any of the items for discussion to place at the end of the meeting, please let me know. And I will ask our interim manager, Hager, if she would like to go through the list of consent items with commissioners.
Sure. Good evening, commissioners. As
Good evening.
Chair Howerton, Chair, we have 5 consent items. Item number 21-0299, approval of budget ordinance amendment to recognize $100,000 from North Carolina Biotechnology Center for a local economic development award and to disperse the funds to Grail Inc.
So are you asking that item to be pulled, Commissioner Jacobs?
You're on mute.
I just have a quick comment because these are items that are new to our agenda. I just wanted to make a quick comment for the public.
These are items that we've gone over several times, but go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted the public to know how exciting this is because it includes 8 paid undergraduate internships. So this is a great thing for our community. Thank you.
Okay, Manager Hager, would you continue?
Sure. 21-0301, approved capital project amendment, increasing the Snow Hill Pump Station and Force Main Replacement Project by $3,210,000 using 2020 limited obligation bonds for a total project budget of $18.295 million and authorizing the county manager to execute the design builder guaranteed maximum price contract number 3. Okay. Let's see. Number 3 is 21-035 budget ordinance amendment to recognize $13,733 on behalf of the NC State Extension North Carolina Farm School of Cooperative Extension to operate the regional North Carolina Farm School program in Durham County through 2022.
Okay.
And number 4 is 21-0308, property tax releases and refunds for April 2021. And number 5 is 21-0313, execution of architectural services agreement with Vines Architecture, Inc. for the analysis and conceptual studies for the former DSS Main Street facility project.
Thank you, Interim Manager Hager. If there are no other comments, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items, Madam Chair.
Second.
Was that Carter?
Yes, I seconded.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Burns and second by Commissioner Carter to approve the consent items. I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye. Consent agenda approved 5-0. The next, we have public hearing. 21-0311 is a public hearing approval, Palmer Way renaming. The board is requested to close the public hearing that was considered at the May 10th regular session meeting and consider a motion. So at this time, I will ask the clerk if there are any comments received, any emails.
Chair Howerton, we did not receive any emails or comments for that particular item, which closed on May the 11th.
Thank you. If there are no comments and from commissioners, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I move that we approve the street renaming case SN 210001, changing the street name from Palmer Way to Alexandria Way.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second of the renaming of Way, Palmer Way renaming. Roll call by the clerk, please.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye. The renaming, Palmer Way renaming has been approved 5-0. The next one is also a public hearing approval, 210312, public hearing approval, Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment of Omnibus Changes 16 TC 21000001. The board is requested to close the public hearing, which was considered at the May 10th regular session meeting on the Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment on Omnibus Changes 16 TC 21000001 and consider two motions. At this time, I will ask the clerk, were there any comments received, any emails or letters?
Chair Howerton, we did not receive any comments for this particular item, which closed on May the 11th.
Thank you. So the first motion, so we have a first and a second motion, commissioners. I need a first motion.
Okay, so for the first motion, Madam Chair, I can knock it out if no one has it in front of them. The first motion is I move to adopt an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, incorporating revisions to Article 1, General, Article 3, Applications of Permits, Article 5, Use Regulations, Article 6, District Intensity Standards, Article 7, Design Standards, Article 8, Environmental Protection, Article 9, Landscaping and Buffering, Article 10, Parking and Loading, Article 11, Sign Standards, Article 12, Infrastructure and Public Infrastructure, Article 16, Design Districts, and Article 17, Definition.
Okay, and I need a second.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and second. And I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. Been approved 5-0. And then there's a second motion as well.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the appropriate statement of consistency pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160D-605.
Thank you. And I need a second.
Seconded.
Commissioner Alam. So it's been moved and properly second. I take a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. It's approved 5-0. The next item is 21-0300. It's a public hearing allocating economic development funds to Carcinogen Therapeutic. So the board is requested to hold a public hearing to consider allocating a total of $1 million to Carcinogen Therapeutics and authorize the interim manager to enter into preliminary negotiations and execute an agreement with the company. I think Andy Miracle is our Economic Development Officer on the call to speak on this matter.
Good evening, Chair Howerton. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, and I see
Great.
George there as well.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Andy Miracle. I'm the Durham County Economic Development Officer. The board is requested to hold a public hearing to consider allocating a total of $1 million to Carcinogen Therapeutics and authorize the county manager or interim county manager to enter into preliminary negotiations and execute an agreement with the company. Carcinogen, which specializes in CAR T-cell therapy research and production, will locate in Durham, creating 200 jobs and investing $157 million. Carcinogen Therapeutics is a clinical stage biotechnology company specializing in what's known as chimeric antigen receptor or CAR T-cell therapies, which is a new type of therapy that engages people's immune systems in a new way. The therapeutic approach can yield medicines for various human cancers, including leukemia, lymphoma, and solid tumors. The company's project will establish a clinical early stage commercial manufacturing facility, and then later a commercial manufacturing facility that will eventually produce FDA-approved cell therapies. With approval of the award, Carcinogen has agreed to make reasonable efforts to participate in several workforce partnerships that include engagement with Durham Public Schools Career and Technical Education, Durham Technical Community College, North Carolina Central University, and NC Works Career Center Durham. Please find additional project details in the briefing sheet attached to the agenda item that includes specific commitments towards college-level internships, DPSCT activities, job fairs, and diversity purchasing. We look forward to helping facilitate these partnerships in a successful manner. Carcinogen's presence in North Carolina will be facilitated in part by a Job Development Investment Grant, which was approved by the state's Economic Investment Committee on May 20th. Payments for all JDIG and all local awards only occur following performance verification. The company has met its incremental job creation and investment targets. The anticipated revenue that the project will generate is at least twice the size of the proposed local award, and payment to the company occurs only after the annual verification of jobs and investment criteria starting in 2021. Staff is recommending that the county provide $1 million in economic development investment funds to Carcinogen Therapeutics, subject to performance goals being met by the company related to timing and amount of investment, employment creation, and maintenance of the created jobs, as well as partnership engagement criteria. This public hearing has been advertised as required by law. That concludes my comments, and I will note that we do have a representative from the company joining us tonight to make comments, and I can introduce that individual when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, commissioners, are there any questions for staff before we open up the public hearing? Commissioner Burns.
I saw the announcement. I just want to always say to Andy Miracle, thank you for continuing to work out miracles solo. Hopefully we will be able to get you the support that we've all advocated for. I will say that I know we often talk about the MWB goals, and so we don't usually get, or maybe I have to go back and look, but the aspirational goal of 10%, the fact that this organization hit a target, it makes me happy, and they see the value in all of our people in Durham. So I just want to say thank you as always for taking the things that are important to us as commissioners that we relay to you about our community, and sharing those so that we can get these types of briefing sheets. And I'm not going to go over all of the opportunities that are listed, but again, hats off to you and your team of one. And I look forward to seeing where this goes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Other commissioners? Commissioner Jacobs?
Similar to Commissioner Burns, I don't really have a question. I just have a comment that I want to echo my colleague, that I'm really excited about what is being proposed here. We're just so fortunate that we keep having our life sciences sector grow, and it's just want to, I'm excited about this company that is offering something that could really be life-changing for so many people. I know all of us have been touched by cancer, and our families and our friends and neighbors. And so anything that could really change the equation when people get cancer is really welcome. And the fact that you're doing research as well as the manufacturing component, and knowing that I think 170 out of the 200 jobs you're proposing will be accessible without an advanced degree. And as Commissioner Burns noted, the aspirational goal is setting a new standard for us. Thank you. And also the minimum of 2 paid internships per year at Durham Tech for 7 years. That is, again, I hope we're setting a new standard, Andy. But the idea that we're going to have a minimum of 14 paid internships for Durham Tech students is fantastic, as well as the sustainable building and operations practices that you're proposing. So I just want to welcome you all to the community, and say that any way that we can help support making connections with our community, just please let us know.
So, and I want to lend my voice as well to Andy. You do such an incredible job as a one-man operation, and I know there are others that work with you to get this work done, because we keep giving you more demands and more things that we want, and you keep showing up and helping to make those things happen for the citizens in this community. And I can't thank you enough. And when our community can pull this list of things that this company will be offering, I think they will be touched and moved as well. So thank you. And I would like for you I will open the public hearing. If there aren't other commissioners, are there any other comments by other commissioners? If not, I will open the public hearing and have the clerk acknowledge any callers that are on the line, or read any comments received.
Good evening, commissioners. We do have Brian Fox on the line. He's the Vice President of Public Policy with Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, commissioners, Madam Interim Manager, staff, and neighbors. I know that you're all looking forward to hearing from Dr. Gia from the company as well. But I'll just say, on behalf of the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce, we appreciate your continued support of opportunities that address global health issues, and most importantly, will benefit all Durham residents, both directly and indirectly. Karsten represents an opportunity for Durham to continue to lead the charge in addressing global health crises. And as we continue to focus on increasing equity of access to all the facets of our community, and specifically to our growing life science industry, your partnership with Karsten enables their investment in Durham to help support all of our shared priorities, and is an opportunity for Durham to continue to be a global leader in this field. Thank you.
Thank you. And Andy, would you like to introduce your guest?
Yes, absolutely. It's one very minor point of clarification related to the internships. Those are college level internships that would be available to both Durham Tech and North Carolina Central. So just wanted to make sure that was clarified.
Great.
Absolutely. And so tonight, very excited to introduce Dr. Gia, who is the Vice President of Strategic Alliances and Operations for Karsten Therapeutics.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Brian. Very nice introduction. It's my great pleasure, and it's my honor to be invited to today's meeting. So First, I would like to take the opportunity to appreciate the strong support we received from the local community. Especially, I just heard our commissioners and your comments on this project that make me so excited. My name is Jie Jia. I'm Vice President of CAR Gene Therapeutics. I oversee the company operations and the strategic alliance in the United States. CAR Gene, like Andy and Brian introduced, we are a biotech company who developed the leading cell therapy drug for cancer treatment. So we try to develop our life-changing, just like Commissioner mentioned, the life-changing drug, try to make cancer curable. That means that we try to make cancer-free. Instead of our traditional way to control the cancer, we want to help cancer patient and their family back to normal. That is, we always hear in these days, we want to back to normal. So that is our vision and our mission we try to achieve. I believe the local community support will help CAR Gene quickly move forward with our innovation and our advanced technology in both R&D and manufacturing. The North Carolina will become the new home of CAR Gene, and we try to make more investment into the local community in collaboration with the local college, community college, state college, and also other companies and organizations in this neighborhood. So we believe CAR Gene will grow with the local community together, and we will happy to provide more job opportunities to the new students and internships that will make the community strong. And we believe CAR Gene is strong and cannot be stand alone without the community. So I know we have other topics we need to go through in today's public hearing. So I just want to summarize my today's presentation. I truly appreciate all the support we received from the local community, including county, city, and state. We are looking forward to working with you together. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. And one of the things that we see from all of the things that you are offering to the community and from the interaction with Andy about this project is that you are offering to become a part of the community. And that is important to us, that you become a part of the community. So thank you. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So, we will move on. So due to virtual meetings, the new rule requires all public hearings to remain open for 24 hours to allow for additional public comments. The public hearing will close tomorrow, May 25th, at the conclusion of this meeting. After the conclusion of this meeting, the item will be moved to the June 7th regular session meeting. It may say on your agenda the 14th, but it should be the 7th. At that time, comments received will be shared and a vote will be considered. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is 210321. It's another public hearing on the FY 21-22 County Manager's recommended budget. The board is requested to conduct a public hearing to receive citizen input on the FY 21-22 County Manager's recommended budget. And at this time, I will ask the clerk, Manager Monica Toomer, to share the comments received. And it's we usually have lots of people in front of us tonight we have emails and letters, and it's different than having all of our citizens come in and talk to us. But Monica gets to talk to us tonight on their behalf.
Good evening, commissioners, interim manager Hager, general managers, and the public. I will be reading to you guys the comments that were received beginning on Friday, May the 20th, I believe it is, May the 20th, through Sunday, May the 23rd at 2 p.m. In light of the time and the number of comments received, I will be reading some summarized statements, but I would like to share that all comments have been emailed to the commissioners, the interim county manager, as well as our general managers and our budget director. The verbatim comments will be posted to our Durham County website on the commissioners page under BOCC minutes. And the comments will also be placed in our regular session meeting minutes, once they are approved by our board. We did receive a total of 133 comments via email. I will begin with our first comment from the Durham People's Alliance. On behalf of the Durham People's Alliance, PA, we are writing to express our thanks to you and the county staff for preparing the recommended fiscal year 21-22 budget. The proposed $730 million budget is an important statement of our priorities as a community and should help support a healthy and just recovery from COVID-19. The recommended fiscal year 2021-22 budget presented on May 10th meets several but not all of those requests. Below, we outlined where the proposed budget reflects our values and where it falls short. Where the proposed fiscal year 21-22 budget meets our expectations. 1, plan for enhanced revenue for fiscal year 21-22. As our community begins the process of recovering from the public health emergency and economic slump caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, we wholeheartedly support the proposed 1 cent general fund property tax rate increase that will enable important investments in the health and prosperity of our community. Where the proposed fiscal year 21-22 budget only somewhat meets our expectations. 1, under investment in K-12 education. The recommended budget for fiscal year 21-22 increases funding for Durham Public Schools by $10 million. 2, limited tax assistance for low-income homeowners. We recommend an investment of $2.1 million for a long overdue property tax assistance program for long-time low-income homeowners to help them stay in their homes. 3, creation of new positions to advance race equity but omission of commitment to creating a racial equity fund. We recommend that the county prioritize the creation of a racial equity fund with the city of Durham that is both sustainable and large enough to touch all aspects of Durham life, including education, housing, business ownership, health, environment, and criminal legal. 4, under investment in Durham Tech. Durham Tech has an essential role to play in addressing Durham's jobs crisis and preparing residents for living wage work from the COVID recession. Where the proposed fiscal year 21-22 budget falls short. No new investment in green jobs. Our recommendations include deepening the county's commitment to the Bionomic Educational Training Center, BOCC program, and the Community Conservation Assistance Program. And 2, no commitment to diverging dollars from law enforcement to different models of public safety. PA has recommended reducing budget line items for armed law enforcement, weaponry, and new law enforcement vehicles, and diverging those dollars toward different models that embrace a holistic concept of what is meant for us all to be safe and well. We urge the county to address these gaps and shortfalls in the recommended budget and to fund fully all of the above items. We received 32 comments regarding fully funding the DPS budget. That statement reads, please vote to fully fund the DPS school board's budget request of $18.2 million. Those citizens stressed the need for more social workers and nurses in DPS to provide critical health support for students. We received a total of 96 comments requesting to reduce the sheriff budget by 10% for mental health services. That comment reads, Durham Beyond Policing and Durham for All are calling on the Board of County Commissioners to divest 10% of the Durham County Sheriff's Department budget and reallocate those funds to strengthen mental health. We know, based on hundreds of conversations we've had with community residents through phone banking and the years of organizing we've been doing in Durham, that robust mental health care is a priority for our communities. Thanks to the county commissioners for their unanimous commitment to the success of the new Community Safety and Wellness Task Force. We hear your expressed willingness to move away from policing in jails and invest in human needs. We hear your expressed eagerness to strengthen mental health and develop compassionate, effective, preventative solutions to harm and violence. This is long-term work, and there are immediate steps that can be taken to reallocate resources to where they are urgently needed. Now is an excellent time to divest from the sheriff's budget. In describing the jail, the sheriff's office states that it houses approximately 400 detainees, but the department's graph shows that the average daily population was only 308 in fiscal year 21 and only 356 in fiscal year 20. The sheriff's office does not discuss if any cost savings have resulted. In fact, the budget includes an unspecified amount of additional overtime funding for the detention center. Now is a critical time to meaningfully invest in mental health access for Durham residents, behavioral health urgent care, the Recovery Response Center, the 24-hour mobile crisis unit, and Lincoln Community Health Center would all benefit from increased public investment. In the upcoming budget work sessions, we are counting on you to advocate for 10% from the Durham County Sheriff's Department budget and reallocating those funds to strengthen mental health. Comment was received from Larissa Seibel. Thank you very much for funding property tax grants for very low income homeowners. Thank you for funding emergency rental assistance to prevent evictions. And thank you for building affordable housing downtown. I hope you will continue to fund these essential housing programs. Please fund more access transit for people with disabilities, seniors, and other low-income residents of Durham. Access is not able to meet the needs of people who need transit to dialysis and other essential medical services. People are waiting to be scheduled for rides to dialysis. Others have been too late for appointments. We need more vans, people, and facilities to meet the needs of people in Durham. We also received a letter which was signed by 36 Durham residents, 10 non-Durham residents, and 1 anonymous person from the Immersion for Spanish Language Acquisition, ISLA, who wholeheartedly supports Durham Public Schools' current budget request of $18.2 million. We are writing to support Durham Public Schools' proposed budget because it pays attention to the whole child, helps remedy current students and family needs, and is tied to the mission, vision, and work we're currently doing. However, by not providing the fully funded budget, we jeopardize the access students at DPS deserve and have not received for decades. Durham County Commissioners should be the example to other county commissioners across the state who prioritize different needs over education. Be the change we want to see. Fully fund our children's education. Community leaders, participants from our Parents with a Voice leadership program, and families from DPS shared with ISLA the importance of this budget being approved in its totality. Finishing with our exceptional children's services, our parents expressed that this budget will also support our children's learning differences, especially in early childhood interventions. Schools are receiving children with disabilities who are being discovered at later ages. Finding students' needs earlier will allow our families to obtain the necessary support that they deserve and need. We're asking for more therapists and more support staff because schools need more guidance and support for our families. We request attention to students who are going through life changes, including pre-adolescent and high school students. Our teachers and schools know our students best, and we fully support DPS's need for Durham County to fund $18.2 million. We received a comment from DeWarren Langley. He recommends the Durham Board of County Commissioners immediately approve the MBK Durham Advisory Board, commission a boys and young men of color local action plan with appropriation in the 2021-2022 budget for the plan's development, and earmark $5 million of the American Recovery Act plan funds to fund academic support, workforce readiness, and stipends for boys and young men of color. He noted 9 months ago on September 7th, he emailed the county commissioners recommending the creation of the advisory board to ensure stakeholder engagement and accountability in identifying innovative solutions to eliminate gaps and increase achievement opportunities for boys and young men of color in Durham. Since the submission of the recommendation, thousands of jobs have been announced by companies such as Fidelity Investment, Apple, Google, biotech with over $200 million investment in Durham County. In addition, the Durham Board of County Commissioners have received presentations on the Durham County Early Childhood Action Plan and Durham Master Aging Plan, which heightens my interest and renew my advocacy for a revised boys and young men of color plan for Durham. He states that we must focus on addressing these gaps from cradle to career, using evidence-based intervention from the community, private, public, and social enterprise sectors. The singular work of individual organizations working with boys and young men of color is insufficient without system change through collective strategy and impact. He welcomed the opportunity to meet with the commissioners to discuss further. And lastly, we received a comment from Fran Langstaff. I am certainly in favor of having unarmed, compassionate, and skilled mental health professionals available to assist in cases where armed personnel is not required. I do question whether it is necessary to take 10% from the sheriff's budget or 10% from the police budget to accomplish this. I believe that presently open positions exist only because these departments do not urgently need more personnel, but because what the pay scale offered for these positions in Durham County, as opposed to other smaller jurisdictions adjacent to Durham City, County, Durham is not competitive in hiring. Additionally, I believe that with the numbers of new residents coming into the Durham area and several large corporations that are moving in, bringing thousands of new hires at high salaries, that more services will be required of the Durham Police and Sheriff's Department, and that the tax revenues generated by these new residents should provide funds for these mental health positions. In any event, I have several questions that I feel need to be answered regarding the establishment and operation of these mental health responders. One, has an infrastructure been established already to provide for mental health services requested by D4A statement? If so, is there a physical location? Under whose jurisdiction would this group operate? Are qualified supervisors already identified? What would be the hiring mechanism for unarmed, skilled, and compassionate responders? Are there presently parameters set for the educational and experience required of these responders? Would there be responders available 24/7? Would responders be answering 911 calls, calls from safety officers, calls from the public? What would the requirements be to receive a response from one of these responders? Would these responders be allowed to decide not to answer or call on their own? Are there sufficient qualified medical health professionals who will be able to fill these positions? What is the estimated salary? And considering the problems with the Durham Police Department and the Durham County Sheriff's Office has filling positions, particularly considering the lower pay in Durham than surrounding areas, will the same problem exist for the responder positions? That concludes the comments that are being read during this public hearing. Again, all comments will be placed on the county website. They have all been emailed, and they will also be placed in our meeting minutes. Thank you very much.
We must give our clerk a hand clap.
Thank you.
Mara, that's extraordinary that you were able to do that within the allotted time. So thank you for putting all that together. It was major.
You're welcome.
So I'd like to thank our clerk for reading the emails and organizing that. And I'd also like to thank the citizens for providing feedback on the upcoming budget. The commissioners, the interim manager, and budget staff will take your comments into consideration when finalizing the FY 2021-22 budget. So our next item, commissioners, is 21-0-318, Durham County Public Health Focus Update on COVID-19 Crisis. So the board requests a public health focus update by none other than our public health director. We are so pleased, as always, to have you with us, and you are one hardworking director, along with all of your department and supporters. So I will turn it over to you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, interim county manager Hager, attorney Darby, general managers, and the citizens of Durham County. I greet you again on behalf of the hardworking men and women of Durham County Public Health who have been extremely busy with vaccinations. This weekend is a testimony to our wherewithal. We had 4 signature events going on around the same time, and it was all aimed at vaccinating families and our precious babies in Durham Public Schools. So I tip my hat to Durham Public Schools, Chapel Hill Pediatrics, War for Life, and everybody else who had a direct hand, to include Latin 19, in helping us to pull off a successful event. I am going to do my best to share my screen and be very brief because I certainly know you have a lot to cover. Can you see my screen?
Now, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm trying to advance. Okay.
There we go.
Thank you for your patience. Again, our strategy remains the same. You know, again, we're moving away from the 3 W's and G, which is wear your mask, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands, and most importantly, get vaccinated. And now we're just moving into a strategy to where we're saying now is the time to vax up or mask up. That is a new slogan coming from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. You heard it here first. The time is now. Again, vaccine is still plentiful, and we still encourage everyone under the sound of my voice to mask up if you so desire. Our statistics remain very, very good. Current total active cases right at about 103 or less. Inactive cases, 25,359 individuals have beat COVID. We have picked up a few more deaths as a reminder that this respiratory pathogen is still a killer and it is still affecting individuals. So our hearts and prayers and meditations are always with those who've lost loved ones to COVID-19. Total since the pandemic began, 25,000 696. Our 7-day moving average of positive cases for last week was just 21. That is a decrease from the previous weeks to where we saw 31 2 weeks ago and 37 the previous week. So far for the month of May, there have been 507 COVID cases thus far. So again, the vaccine is doing its job and people are still taking the vaccine. We continue to keep a close eye on race and ethnicity trends, and our Latinx population continues to be proportionally represented. Our white population continues to be underrepresented, and we're still keeping a close eye on our Black or African American community, as we have seen COVID infections continue to disproportionately affect this demographic here in Durham. Our work continues with those individuals that I just named, War for Life, African American COVID-19 Task Force Plus, Durham County Affairs of Black People, and many, many others that are helping us to get the word out. I think probably one of the most proudest moments I've seen so far is our percentage of positive labs. Last week, it was just 2.1%. It has not been that low since March of 2020, and that's at the beginning of the pandemic. This is a decrease of 2.9% the week of May 2nd through 8th. And since May 9th, the positivity rate has decreased to 2% and stayed in that range. Duke's infections have shown us at 0.9% for North Carolina and 0.8% for Durham. So we continue to go down, and that's because of vaccine uptake. The CDC continues to show that Durham is leading the way and doing what we need to do as far as total populations, and this includes the federal long-term care partnership. This includes the VA. This includes any military veterans. All federal is lumped in that to also include North Carolina providers. So our total vaccinations, fully vaccination, that means 1 shot, 2 shot, 142,841, which is 44.4% of our total population in Durham. Population greater than 12 years of age, 142,811, which accounts for 51.8% of our population that has been vaccinated. Further breakdown, but again, very proud of these numbers. And the color-coded at the bottom is what I really want to bring to the attention of my commissioners. Our level of community transmission is now at a moderate stage. We were at high for a very long time, then we went to substantial. Now we're at moderate. And of course, we want that to be the color of my bow tie. We want it to be light blue, meaning very low. So we will continue to do all that we can to get there. North Carolina does have us, per North Carolina providers, right at about 42.9%. First dose receiving 1 dose, 39.3% fully vaccinated. And again, this is all North Carolina providers, not all federal. So this causes the discrepancy in the numbers. So thankful for our county PIO, Deborah Craig Ray, who provided a nice little reminder that there are certain counties that are certainly struggling. She provided a CNN article that I read last night that showed that Onslow County is really struggling. They have not broken 20%. So again, Durham leads the way, and we are so thankful for our citizens heeding the call to get vaccinated. So far, 264,492 vaccinations have been performed through May 23rd, 2021. 520 provider sites have signed up to provide vaccine. Of the white population, 51% have received at least 1 dose, 53% have been fully vaccinated. We make gains in our African American community with 29% partially, 29% fully vaccinated. Our Asian population continues to do well in the 50s. Our Latinx population are definitely heeding the call, and they are getting vaccinated in large numbers, with 30% of our Latinx residents having partially vaccinated and 26% being fully vaccinated. And as a reminder, they only represent 14% of Durham's entire population. 13,887 Hispanic or Latinx residents have been vaccinated, many of which were vaccinated at Saturday's multiple activities. Vaccine equity continues to be our #1 priority. And as Monica so eloquently read earlier, our vaccination hours are back to our regular schedule. We took the last week to account for the gasoline shortage. But again, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, 9 to 4. Tuesdays, extended hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're currently working with Durham County schools to continue to promote vaccine equity and also as with EMS to create tools to go to those different census tracts. And of course, I want to make it a point that we did participate in a vaccination event in Bahama at Mount Calvary Baptist Church. We had a great opportunity to go up there last Friday from 3 to 6 and do vaccinations. We vaccinated, as of course, at Hillside High School and Githens Middle School this past weekend. And we also were at Master Cuts Barbershop. That was the first time we were able to really kind of leverage barbershops as a way to do some vaccinations. See a little typo there. We have several vaccination events set for every single weekend in the month of June. So we will remain busy for the foreseeable future. In terms of ELC updates, even though we don't necessarily have an ELC anymore, there's really been no change. Homeless is still preparing to see what the new normal is going to be in terms of their work. Community paramedics are still working hard to ensure that they're able to get vaccinated. DSS has continued their work with ERAP and food security. Again, we're so delighted to have Mary Oxendine on board. I personally thought that we hit a home run. Especially you can't go wrong with a young lady from Robinson County. That's just my point of personal privilege, I'll say that. But we're delighted to have her, and we look forward to working with her in public health. Commissioners, that concludes my presentation for the time being. Be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. As always, Rod, you do such an extraordinary job. We appreciate it presenting this information. And I can tell you some of the residents in the community are so appreciative of the PowerPoint slides so that they can see the numbers. So thank you for doing that. I do have just one quick question, and then I'll turn it over to the commissioners. Do you see any particular area that need more targeting than what you're doing already?
Of course, you know, I think the demographic that does continue to keep me up at night is our African-American community, because we do see them disproportionately affected by COVID, but we're not seeing huge numbers of uptake for the vaccine, although I will say it's getting better. I was delighted to see a lot of the African-American community going to Hillside High School. There was a ton of diversity there, but it was majority African-American. And not just the kids, it was their parents. And we have the pictures to prove it on Durham County's Public Health Flickr account. We'll see beautiful pictures of people getting vaccinated. But we know that we still have a long way to go in terms of ensuring that, you know, that uptick is there. We are delighted to be working with the state. The state has, you know, again, prepared themselves to provide us with assets to work with these census tracts that have a high social vulnerability index. I have a meeting at noon tomorrow with a new individual who's going to take over from the young lady who was really instrumental in helping us with COVID-19 testing. Now they're turning their attention to COVID-19 vaccinations. So as I've said to the commissioners and to the community so many times before, I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to make sure that Durham has the best.
Thank you. Commissioners, comments, questions? Commissioner Jacobs, then Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. And Rod, it's so great to hear about, I love the new slogan, backs up or mask up. And that, you know, the focus now being on families, this being a family thing. And I do feel that kids are going to help get our adults to come in and feel comfortable. And even though I know that everyone is doing their best and with all of these, the outreach and everything, but I do feel like we really have to zero in on the disparity related to our Latinx and our Black residents. And I know we're going to hear back, I guess, on maybe at our next meeting on the mayor's proposal, or maybe your proposal on getting out and, you know, hitting the pavement or whatever we need to do, whatever, you know, whatever it takes, right?
Indeed.
And yeah,
we're excited about it. Again, you know, we know that that's another tool in our toolbox to help us out. But make no mistake about it, I enjoyed seeing the personnel inside the red back on the bull shirt, t-shirts, polo shirts at every single one of our events. Big shout out to La Amelia and Reverend Edgar Vigario, who had his staff out there. Those are our community health workers. Those are our community ambassadors. And they've already been doing what they've been doing throughout the entire pandemic, in addition to our staff at public health. But again, every bit helps, you know, give the same way there was an all hands on deck approach to vaccine development, needs to be an all hands on deck approach to getting the vaccine out to the community.
right. And I don't know also, so I mean, I can say personally, I'm committed to, you know, if we need to expand our community health workers or whatever we need to do, because we need to make sure that everybody gets vaccinated, and we won't rest until it's done. And I just didn't know also there, you know, I'm reading about all these incentive programs that different communities are doing. Has there been any discussion of you know, paying people to get vaccinated, whatever?
There have been some incentives, and thank you so much for bringing that up, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair. The state has plans to discuss that maybe within the next week and a half to 2 weeks. I was on a large county high impact call this morning to which that question came up, and some state representatives did say that there's some incentives coming up. But again, you know, we don't wait on the state. We have done a couple of incentives ourselves, particularly at the barbershop and Master Cuts. On Saturday, we were offering gift cards for those individuals who signed up to get vaccinated. And it was not from the federal funds, it was from local funds. Make sure I'm very specific when I say that. But that was definitely one incentive that allowed people to do it. And Commissioner Lum, we did the same thing in Bahama when we went to Mount Calvary Baptist Church. We did also offer food vouchers and gift cards for those individuals who signed up, and we had a nice crowd. So it's working.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Burns.
Thank you, as always, Rod. I have a bunch of things, but I'm gonna move expeditiously. One, I just want to thank you for putting up that slide that did a breakdown of age as opposed to an aggregate. You and I have had many long conversations about these fake numbers that organizations have been putting up that do not give an accurate picture based on age, race, and it really puts us at a disadvantage. And so hopefully some of these really bad proposals that we continue to get over and over again, now that our elected officials as well as the public can see what the real numbers look like, we can move past this very real false narrative. So I'm thankful that you added that in. I also want to echo the sentiments of some of my colleagues. I've said this once before, and I feel like I'm a broken record, but I'm gonna say these two things again. You and I both know we're gonna do everything we can. I was out at Hillside. I think you were at Wheels at some point, yeah. And you don't have that one. So I had a great time. I know how many, I just saw how many meals were paid for and how many food trucks. There were multiple events this week. And speaking of incentives, I think it might be a good idea maybe to aggregate some of them, put them on our site. I remember when Commissioner Lum mentioned the donuts that time. It's funny that she said, I know that War for Life did help this week. And they're actually doing free smoothies in the event that you go and you bring in your car. And those smoothies are pretty sizable. So, and they're all fresh fruit. So that's another one. I would also throw out there, as we seek to work intergovernmentally on some of these proposals. Many of us in this community know that we have community health workers and we have community-based organizations who have been doing this work selflessly, and they are one of the real reasons outside of the work that you, Joanne, and some of the rest of us do that is really getting butts in the seats and making people come. You did a video, I did a video. My concern is there's so many organizations out there who have not been paid, they have been taken advantage of. And as we move forward with any proposals, I just want the community to know that I've seen the email, I hear your concerns, and best believe that as a county who purports to say that they care about these issues, we will be laser focused on making sure that these community-based organizations, especially the ones that seek to do this equitable work, are not taken advantage of. I'll be laser focused on it. I know that you will as well. I've talked to my counterparts at the city. Nobody has an issue with the proposal that has been put forth. But if we're talking about equitability for vaccinations and public health, we also have to talk about equitability of finance and payment. So I'm hopeful that as these proposals continue to come through, that we can make sure that we're doing right by some of these people who have really stepped up for over a year to put their names, their reputations, and their organizations on the line to make sure that everybody is vaccinated. And I look forward to working with you in that effort. And to the community, keep the emails coming. If you have been taken advantage of by a nonprofit for the work that you've done, I look forward to hearing from you. Not in there.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners? Seeing none.
Madam Chair.
Any hands? Commissioner Long?
Thank you, Madam
Okay.
Chair. As always, thank you, Director Jenkins. I just want to point out, I actually received, I was speaking to some teachers this week and just want to highlight how excited they were about their students being able to be vaccinated. And they were sharing with me how this is one of the first times they've ever seen their students excited to be getting shots. And so thank you to you and your team and the state for doing an amazing job of communicating out to kids why it's so important to roll up your sleeves and get vaccinated. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you so much. And it's been great to see them conducting interviews and doing TikTok videos and just really getting their and not by peer pressure, but just just good advertising and using themselves as examples of if I can do it, you can do it as well. So the overall goal is to make sure that we can get back to school and having normal school year. That's everyone's goal. So excellent work with Dr. Mabenga and Dr. Monk and Hardy and all the rest of them. We've been really hard at it to make sure that we can get everyone vaccinated.
Okay, so Rod, again, thank you so much. And please convey our appreciation to your staff.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Okay, we will move on to 21-0330. This is a Durham County Board of Elections space request. So the board is requested to approve a feasibility study dedicated to finding a 40,000 to 50,000 square foot continuous facility for the Durham County Board of Election prior to 2024. We have Derek Bose here from the Board of Election and Don Baxton. Hi, Don.
Hello, commissioners.
Member at Space Request co-chair on the call to discuss these items. Great to see you both.
Thank you for having us.
You are welcome. So you have a presentation for us.
I do. We would like to thank the commissioners for putting this so quickly on your agenda to give it consideration. So we will get started. Considering the time, can you ladies hear me?
Yes, we can. I'm sorry, Derek was talking and we couldn't hear him. That was why we were doing that. But yeah, we can hear you, Don.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were saying something, Derek? We didn't hear you.
See, his mouth is moving. He's talking to us, but we can't hear him. I'm sorry.
Scan can hear you.
We still don't hear you.
Hear me now?
Oh, we hear you now.
Well, that was challenging.
There you go.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Manager Hager. I'll go ahead and pull up the presentation for Ms. Paxton. Let me know when you see that, Ms. Paxton.
I see the first slide. Can the commissioner see it? Great.
Yes.
All righty, so pursuant to Article 4 of Chapter 163 of the North Carolina General Statutes, we have listed for you on this slide all of the functions, just so you can get a feel of all that we do in preparation for area election and to keep the Board of Elections functioning. So we are responsible for voter registration, list maintenance, G-coding, and jurisdictional maintenance, absentee voting, early voting, election day voting, candidate filing, campaign finance, voting equipment maintenance, voting equipment testing, supply inventory maintenance, polling place management, precinct official recruitment, precinct official training, precinct official assignments, ballot reconciliation and auditing, public meetings and hearings, and voter outreach and education. So those are all the functions that we perform yearly. Next slide, Derek. So in 2017, we did a lot of enhancements to help with the operations run more smoothly in Durham County. We increased our primary staff. We increased the facilities that had to be utilized in order to carry out effective elections here in Durham County. We increased in inventory. We increased in voter-centered resources. And by that, we increased in like voter applications, find my elected official, find my polling place, find my early voting site. We did public election notification systems. We have a I voted sticker contest to have our voters engaged, where we pick the best sticker to be used for a 2 to 5 year period. And we did a hashtag stay healthy and vote campaign when we were dealing with COVID-19. We also have expanded our early voting. We at the Board of Elections believe in having a robust early voting plan, and that is what our citizens have come to expect from us. So we try to satisfy the expectation. We have expanded our reconciliation protocols to make sure that our elections are accurate. And we've increased our security measures and our operational logistics to make sure that we get the polling sites set up appropriately for elections. We've hired actually a logistics manager. We've increased delivery trucks from 2 to 10 to ensure that all 57 polling places are fully equipped for the elections the day before. We have implemented rover zones to ensure that there are swift responses to precinct officials in need during election day. And we also have developed election night returns applications for chief judges and a mobile tracking system. So we moved away from the old days where we would have just a big map up in our conference room marking off as the election results came in from each polling site, not knowing which one was coming until it actually came in. But under Mr. Bowen's directives and his innovative style, we've been able to have a mobile tracker to know when they are coming from their polling place to the Board of Elections to drop off their returns, which has helped a lot with customer service, which is important to us. Next slide, Derek. So with all of those functions that I listed on the previous slide, we have been operating over 4 sites to get this done. We have been using the Judicial Annex, which primarily holds the Office of our Director, Deputy Director, as well as staff for voter registration, Absentee and Business Division, the Training and Public Information Division, and the Election Systems Division. Candidate filings and certain records and supplies are also housed at this location. The warehouse has been used primarily for our logistics functions and storage of our election equipments and records, and it has become a primary location for public meetings. And as we go along, you'll see why that has happened. The Administrative 2 building has been used for our absentee by mail, voter registration, training, post-election activities, and public meetings. And that has been because as a result of some modification to the Judicial Annex where we were originally housed. And in 2020, we have used the Health and Human Services Room A to assist with public training events. Next slide, Derek. So we thought it would be a good idea for you to hear about the current condition, and we're actually going to show you some slides of the current condition of the facilities that we have been using and the concerns that are presented by our current conditions. In 2018, the Department of Homeland Security performed a physical security assessment of our current location over at the Judicial Annex. And the final report expressed some concerns about the structure of the Judicial Annex and its proximity to traffic, that being the cars that were there, and as pertains to voter queuing and building security and the parking congestion. Part of the problem is that where we currently are, the whole front of that annex is mostly reserved parking, and we have a co-tenant, which is the Department of Corrections. So that has resulted in some modifications that has exacerbated some of the issues that we were currently dealing with that was making our exercising effective voting in Durham County a little difficult to make sure that it's been secure. So once they modified the Judicial Annex, there was a reduction in the lobby space that presented a customer service issue for us because the board had previously had a lobby area that allowed us to better queue our voters when they came to the Board of Elections, and we lost that lobby space with the renovation. The lobby space is now more so for community corrections and reduce the level of service that we can provide to the customers that come to the Board of Elections. Excuse me. As a result of the modification, that also eliminated the security, the badge access that we had, and that has created a security issue. Prior to the renovations, we had a badge access door that separated the public from the internal administrative area of the Board of Elections. With the renovations, this badge access door was eliminated, which gives potential access to secured areas, and that is a security risk for us. Although we have early voting for the Board of Elections moved to an alternative location, the elimination of the outer lobby and badge access door makes return virtually impossible at the Judicial Annex for our elections. When they also renovated at the Judicial Annex, they installed a dividing wall in the largest conference room. And that was a conference room that we used mainly for election night and for our public meetings. They had installed a wall for fireproofing, and that caused us to go from 1,003 square feet to 749 square feet. And the 250 54 square feet that we lost was converted into an enclosed security closet, which exacerbated a space challenge that we were already experiencing. When they did the modification, this also presented some difficulty for the staff that was in that building because there was some pressurization issues where there was so much air pressure in the office that staff sometimes were subject to loud ringing noises within the office. They were forced to put extreme pressure on the main door to enter and exit the building because of the intense pressure issue, and they could have easily injured themselves. We are lucky that they did not, but that's not a condition that they should have to deal with in order to provide the county with secure and safe elections. We also have an issue with the warehouse. One of the biggest issues that the warehouse is not ADA accessible. So that requires an alternate access point for the board staff and the public to enter the building through a wooded area and walk through the supply area of the warehouse in order to be served if they have any disability issues. And that's not acceptable to us as a customer service issue. There is not sufficient floor spacing for us to prepare for the elections. We had to stage or set up for about 14 sites, and that required supplies for 26 feet trucks to be delivered to various polling sites. But due to the limited space, we had to perform this in the warehouse, directly near the main entrance in front of the restrooms. And we were required to equip which slows down packing and loading process, which just slows down the whole preparation process for us in terms of getting ready for the elections. And the warehouse also creates climate control issues. There have been several instances where the warehouse vendor has been required to have a contractor come look at the HVAC system at the warehouse due to climate-related issues. The excessive humidity can cause ballots to swell, making them non-readable by tabulators, which is a problem for elections that we don't want. And so to address this, the vendors had to provide dehumidifiers to assist with the humidity mitigation. And the humidity issues have caused damage to paperwork. It caused the desk in the area that the staff use to have surfaces that are slick due to the condensation, and they have experienced, they being the staff, have experienced damage to their personal items. And lastly, there have been hazardous activities by our co-occupants. There is a computer numerical control machines there, and they use these machines, the use of these machines have produced smoke that has set off the building fire alarm. And the work also produces significant noise at the times, which can affect public proceedings at that location. So another issue for us is that this warehouse is approximately 3.8 miles from the Judicial Annex building, which produces additional administrative constraints when administering elections for Durham County, the way that it's used to having them administered. Next slide, Derek. So these photos show you some of the concerns that I just went over for you. You can see the Judicial Parking Annex and the limited parking that we have there. As I said, a lot of that is now reserved parking, always has been, but with the move in of community corrections, a lot of the parking space is being used by them, which cuts down on the parking space available for the public when they come to the Board of Elections to conduct business. And I also want to point out that because of that reduction in the space that we've lost at the Judicial Annex, we cannot really ever use that as a one-stop place ever. Again, because it would not be conducive and provide good customer service. So we've always had to have another location. We have not and probably will not ever again be able to have our public meetings there because of the space we lost in the boardroom where we normally would have space sufficient to accommodate the public that no longer exists. So that's why for the past year or so, if not a little longer, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, we've been having the meetings across the street at the Admin 2 building. so that the public could have adequate spacing to attend those meetings if they choose to. Next slide, Derek. So as you can see, we have been pretty much doing, at least in 2020, we operated over 4 locations to make sure that Durham County had a safe and effective election with very little error. But that's not something that we can continue to do. And one of the reasons we can't continue to do that is because of what we anticipate to be the growth that's going to happen in Durham in terms of the registered voters. Derek, you can go to the next slide. So in analyzing our future space requirement, we realized that Durham County continues to outpace the state as a whole in the growth of newly registered voters. Durham County is projected to have more citizens registered to vote and require services from the Board of Election, as you can see in table 1.2. As voter registration continues to increase, so will our space requirements for the Board of Elections. We are assuming, if you look at table 1.2, a 77.9% increase in registered voters to the population ratio. And that's a currently, another issue that gives us concern about our space is that whenever a precinct reaches the threshold of about 6,000, that is a number that we start looking at as a precinct that we may need to split in order to make sure it's not so congested and that voters can have good access at their precincts when they choose to vote there. Currently, we have 11 precincts with over 6,000 registered voters. These precincts will eventually have to be divided or split, which is going to increase the number of sites that we're going to have to manage as well as voters. Also, we have to keep in mind that in 2022, photo identification may be implemented, which would also require an increase in the need for administrative space. And these space concerns were included in our response to the Durham County Facility Master Plan update in 2017. There have also been several conversations with county administration on these space constraints. And within the past 2 years, that is how the board warehouse space was moved from general services to a vacant Leesville Road fire station. And now we're at South Austin Avenue or South Austin location. So all those, this has helped some. It's only temporary, and we're looking for a more sufficient space so we can continue to conduct elections the way that our county has come to expect us to. Our concern is that if we don't, it's going to impact how many sites that we can safely and securely staff for early voting. And early voting is a major part of voting in Durham County because it helps relieve the pressure on voting day. And I think we've demonstrated that time and time again, that we create a robust early voting plan so that our election day, we don't have those long lines, and our citizens appreciate that and they look forward to that every election. One of the things, next slide, Derek. One of the things we would like you to take in consideration is that Durham County operates like some of our bigger counterparts, even though we don't have their size. For instance, when you look at Wake and Mecklenburg County, for instance, Durham County offered one early voting site for every 17,470 voters, whereas Wake and Mecklenburg County offered one site for every 39,725 voters. That was for Wake County, and Mecklenburg one site for every 23,302 voters. And we're ranked 84th out of the 100 counties in geographic size, whereas Wake is ranked 7th and Mecklenburg is ranked as number 38. So even though we don't have their size, we operate as that based on our population. And it has helped us to have these seamless election results that I citizens in our county depend on. So our survey indicates that other comparable county board of elections operate out of insufficient spaces as well. But Buncombe, New Hanover, Union, and Wake counties all have a current or planned capital funds to address their space deficiencies. And in 2019, Wake County moved to a 76,000 square foot facility with the intention to expand at a later date. Next slide, Derek. So based on this information, we are asking that there be a feasibility study dedicated to finding the Board of Elections 40,000 to 50,000 square feet so that we can be in one central location to conduct all the functions that we are required to do under statute so that we can do them in a safe, secure, and efficient manner that our citizens deserve and have come to expect from us. So we are here and open for any questions that the board may have.
Commissioner Howerton, we can't hear you. You're still muted.
Okay, I put myself on mute here. So thank you so much for this presentation. And I'll ask the commissioners if they have questions, comments. Manager Hager.
Hi there. I just wanted to say hello to Ms. Baxton and Derek. We're so grateful for all that you do for the elections in our community and the tremendous work that you do. I did want to share with commissioners that the timing of this discussion flows well with our master facility plan update. As you may recall, we shared with the board earlier this month about the timeline. And so over the next several months, we will be working with departments to refresh their facility master plan. This one may be a little bit unique in that this is probably a brand new look compared to what we had evaluated before. And as Ms. Baxton shared, we've always tried to meet the needs of the elections department as best we could, but oftentimes it may not be ideal. And so with the CIP review and facility review, we can definitely incorporate updated information as a part of the overall plan. So timing wise, this is a good discussion.
And if I may, just one thing I wanted to add that I forgot to add, that we are requesting for this to be done by 2024, before the next presidential election, because we are expecting that to be an even more intense election than the last one we went through, last presidential election. So we really need to be in a position where we're settled before then so that the citizens are used to the new location and are ready to adapt for that and have their right to vote heard without any complications.
Commissioner Burns.
I want to follow up on something that, one, thank you to Mr. Bowens and Ms. Baxton. That was very thorough. I had the slides, but I even jotted down a couple of things. To follow up, the request that you made was for the feasibility study, but of course the feasibility study doesn't get you to the space. And then Interim Manager Hager pointed out that it fit well into the CIP plan. So I guess my two questions are, will we be adding that feasibility plan or that request into that CIP plan? And then additionally, I think back to DDI's Downtown Summit that they had a couple of weeks ago, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, the available office space downtown, I think we're at 93% occupied. So as we look to do this feasibility study, one of the main reasons why you have a board of elections downtown, it has to do with access. So my other question is, even as we're looking at new builds and everything else, property is getting brought up, right? spaces being taken up. So would this feasibility study actually, and I know you can't answer it now, will we be looking at new construction options? And I know that that's way out there. So those are the two things. Number one, I'll reiterate, is that feasibility study going to be entered into the CIP plan? And then what options are we looking at? Are we looking for current space that's possibly coming available? Because what we don't want to do, everybody knows that it's downtown. And I just remember how hard it was for some of us when y'all moved into the other space. So those are just some thoughts I had.
So were those questions or just?
Yeah, so we'll do it again. We're gonna do it one more time. Number one, does that CIP plan include the request that Ms. Baxter made for feasibility? So that is question one. And for question two, as we're looking at this feasibility plan, I just want to throw out into the space that even DDI knows that we are limited on office space downtown. And so what are our thoughts? I just hope that we're thinking forward about having to find 76,000 square feet in 2024 when there is no space downtown to be had.
Well, I will answer from the perspective of staff and our cycle with the CIP update. Our intent is to come to the board in September with some updated costs for the entire capital improvement plan. As you know, there are some projects that will be presented a little earlier or later because they're already on the timeline for presentation to the board. What will the facilities team will coordinate with the Board of Elections team to do a facility review and update and cost out options. To your point, we struggled when we were trying to find warehouse space, and I'm sure Ms. Baxton and Mr. Bowens can remember that. And so ideally, a facility that we could renovate would be perfect, but that may be tough. So we will explore options, and I know that we will present the most cost, the approach that's efficient, but also meets the needs of the elections. But at this juncture, I can't answer the question, but I do know it was a challenge before when we were trying to find warehouse space.
So are we, Manager Hager, are we going to go ahead with voting on the feasibility study?
Yes, I mean, yeah, you can move forward with voting on it. I think we can fold it into our current process and it would not require a formal vote because we're doing that right now. And we can come back to the board if it requires something beyond what we're planning right now with O'Brien Atkins.
Okay. Okay, then we won't need a motion then. We just can move on, and thanks to both of you for bringing this to us and for all the work that you and your team do, because, without you taking care of us at the out there at the polls, we'd be in trouble. You do an extraordinarily good job. Thank you. Were there any other questions for?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you had seen my hand. I know it's been challenging.
I see your hand.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, Derek and Dawn, for your great work. And I know I've been over at the Board of Elections. I remember when I was filing, seeing some of the issues that you were speaking about and that were in the pictures that you all have been dealing with. And I think it is really important that we address some of the, especially the issues related to working conditions and things like that are really, that are impacting people. And of course, the security of the operations. I guess, Claudia, just to clarify, this, then is this something, this is not something additional to add to the upcoming FY 21-22 budget? I just wanted to get clarification on that.
No, we will not need additional dollars to support this. As we share with the board, we do have a facility master plan review that's happening, and we have a contract for that. There are times that we have scopes of work that may exceed that particular contract. And if that happens, we would come back to the board, but this is something that we feel we can fold into our current facility review.
Okay. And will there be an assessment of things like even being able to add on to the existing building and things like that?
Oh,
Would that-
absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
We look at all options because the great thing about this community, we're growing. That also is a challenge when you're looking for space and having the ideal location. So we typically try to give some options, but I'm hopeful we can find a solution that's pretty seamless, but we shall see.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Again, thanks both of you, Don and Derek. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. So commissioners, we are down to boards and commission appointments. So we have Elias, the Senior Assistant County Attorney, Mr. Darby, to read the results. If you are ready for that. We can't hear you. Can't hear you. Do you have those?
Monica, did you give me the ballots?
Yes, sir. They were emailed to you and I sent the text. I'm sorry.
Okay, give me a minute then. How much, you got more time?
Now you are the last thing on the agenda before we go into closed session. How much time do you need?
I don't know how many people on the ballot. I mean, look in the email, see what the ballot looks like.
Monica can tell you that.
Monica, when did you send me the ballots? Because I'm not seeing them. Madam Chair, I propose that we can put it off until the 7th.
They were emailed at 8:11.
Monica, is there any reason that it has to, we can't put it off till the 7th? Does it have to be done tonight?
If you will give me one moment, I can just double check. I'm certain the other memorial and nursing home could probably wait, but I'm not sure about the hospital board. So give me 1 second.
Can you resend me the ballots? Because I sure don't see them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see it now. I see it now. Okay.
So if it's going to take you a minute, we could go ahead and do the closed session, and then you could report back after the closed session. Would that work for you?
That would be fine, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So the board is requested to go into closed session for the following: to establish or to instruct the public body staff or negotiating agent concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of a real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease, or the amount or compensation and other material terms of an employment contract or proposed employment contract pursuant to GS 143-318.11A5. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So move, Madam Chair.
Second. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Long.
Seconded.
So it's been moved and by Commissioner Burns, properly second by Commissioner Alum. I'll take a verbal vote of the clerk.
Commissioner Long,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye, it has been moved and probably second that we will go into closed session. And just before we go into closed session, I want to thank all of our residents and others for attending this verbal meeting and callers attending the closed session asked to join the close for useful information that will be sent out by the clerk. So we are in closed session.
Shoot.
Hi, Willie, are you ready to join the closed session?
Monica, am I in? Hello?
Monica, I think Willie's trying to get in. I heard him in the other meeting still calling to see if he was in.
Am I in the wrong meeting?
He's having trouble or not.
Does he have the latest email?
Willie, do you have the latest link?
I'm trying to find it now. I'm sorry.
I
Can you hear me?
I can hear you on this one. I can't hear you in the closed session. So you're not in the closed session link.
Let me get back. Can you resend me the link right
Yes,
quick?
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, boy. I don't see it.
Okay, so all the commissioners are here.
We have the commissioners here. However, Attorney Darby hasn't returned back just yet. And actually, I am admitting him right now. So Attorney Darby?
Yes.
All right, we have all the commissioners on the line. If you want to go ahead and call out the appointments.
Just 1 second. Let me get back to the ballot. Y'all got me running wild today.
Do you? Okay, go ahead.
I did confirm with Tanya
I would feel better if I would give the results at our next closed session, next meeting, whatever you want to do. Because there are several ballots, there are several positions on the ballot. And I've had to go through 5 ballots and tabulate the scores on all of them. So I would prefer that we wait. Y'all hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I was just waiting to see if that was appropriate with Monica, with that process.
I did actually speak with Tanya. There is a request for the hospital board. They do have appointments that are expiring in June, but I do believe it is the middle of June. So we may be okay with doing the appointments at our work session, suspending the rules.
Thank you.
Okay, all right,
That
good.
way we'll be safe. I just got the ballots. So.
Okay. So we met in closed session and give a direction to staff. And I would entertain a motion for to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Seconded.
It's been moved and second. If we could have clerk call the roll.
Commissioner Alam.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. We are adjourned.